Welcome back to Out of the Fog. Well, we have got a treat for you tonight as we bring you a full show with Canadian rock band Honeymoon Suite. We talk about the history of the band and their soon-to-be-released CD, which is called Hands Up. I started off our chat by asking them about how they feel being back in St. John's. Here's that conversation.
It's always good to come back here. I love coming back here. Everybody's so happy. And yeah, we've been here so many times over our career, you know, from the early days, you know, and also we always kind of seem to make it here, I think, about once a year or once every couple of years for a festival or something. So anyhow, happy to be here anytime. Love the people.
You know what's good about it is we're going to be playing indoors. The last time we were here, we were outside.
Which is kind of tricky
No,
sometimes.
it was great. It was the summertime, but
okay.
It's like starting to snow today, like, you know.
Yeah.
So we're kind of happy that we're indoors.
Yeah, well,
And this whole year is like coming to a close for us, and it's a good place to end it off. But talk about like proximity and stuff like that. He was living in St. Catharines, which is just outside of Niagara Falls, and like he was like a stone throw away, and I never met him until like years and years later. When I first meet him, I'm from St. Catharines. I go, no, right? You know?
Yeah.
Did you ever think about that?
Yeah, we grew up like 10 miles apart from each other and played in different bands when we were kids and stuff.
And never crossed, like,
We
never
met.
crossed paths.
I remember seeing him in a band when he was a kid. He was too young to be in the bar, so he grew a little mustache. He was playing in a band called
That's
Lennox.
easy to do when
And he
you're
was a guitar player.
Italian.
I went down to a rock club, had no idea who he was, just this band from the Falls, and he had a little mustache and he was playing lead guitar. But I never actually met him until many years later when we both lived in Toronto.
It's interesting. I was just thinking about that.
And he had started Honeymoon Suite about 6 months before that, and they were looking for a guitar player.
So that's how it came together.
Yeah,
for you
yeah.
two.
Pretty
That's how
much.
it first started.
Yeah. So a lot has changed, obviously, over the years. Started back in the early '80s, and you're here now, of course, and even promoting a brand new album, which we'll get to. Bring me back to the beginning of how Honeymoon started. So you
How
had
Honeymoon
started.
Suite started?
Honeymoon Suite started. Sorry.
Well, I put an ad in the paper. Well, first of all, I was a lead guitar player, and I didn't want to play with that band anymore because they were always doing like cover songs, and I wanted to get into original songs. I put an ad in the paper. I got 5 musicians quick because I had management and I had shows. I put a list of songs that we did lying on my set list so I can get into the bars, but meanwhile, I was doing my originals, right? Anyways, management set me up with Gary, right? And I'm listening to his songs, and it's like he had New Girl Now and a bunch of different ones, and it's like, wow, okay, these are songs. My songs kind of like got shifted aside. He's a great writer. Okay, forget about the blowing his horn and all that sort of stuff. But that is pretty much it in a nutshell. And then we went and we still played the bars, gave out a phony set list. And in those days, you wouldn't play just one night or 90 minutes. You'd do 3. So if you can get away with the first night, the second night would be packed. The third night it would be just crazy, you know, and we'd be playing and playing all the time. And then original songs, you know, and then record companies would come and see us play and go, well, okay, these guys have developed their own little vibe within themselves. And once we did our first record, everything after that became like a real big blur. It's like, you know, quick, gotta do this, you know. And luckily, the songs are good enough back then, up until, geez, am I ever rambling? Back then, up until now, that people like the songs, people come to see us play. You're taking your time to come and talk to us, so it's all been a really good path. That's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Summer night, storm clouds in the air.
Even speaking of New Girls Now, I mean, that song alone really changed you. I mean, in a matter of months, everything just moved kind of fairly quickly, did it not?
Yeah.
Girls like that song for some reason. It's a strange thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were lucky. Right place, right time. I think a lot of bands, successful bands, can say that. That first breakout single that they, had, I mean, just broke things wide open for us. We were so lucky that things just come together, you know.
And then there was a station in Toronto that started playing our stuff on the airwaves. But we had Warner's, you know, kind of like wanted us even before that. So it's all good, but it's not like there was a lot of work prior to getting to that point. It's
Right.
just, I'm just telling you, once we were on the radio, things happen pretty quick, and we're on major tours in the U.S. and whatnot. But
There was a lot of work previous to
We-
that.
You know what? Unlike today, we were a band. I think things are a little different now. Back then, you had to get your band together. We went on the road. We lived together, and we just worked 6 nights a week. And we became a band, and we wrote together, and we paid our dues, so to speak. So when the break came, we were ready for it. It wasn't overnight by any means. So I think that's why we sustained, because we worked for it.
And talk a little bit more about even like the music industry and how it has changed since, you know, when you think of the 80s, I mean, like everything,
Well,
everything evolves.
I can kind of, this is something I'd like to say, is like it was record companies right back then. And now this record, Jerry approached me with, they're doing this thing called pledge music or whatever, right? Okay, I'm just pretending I don't know what it means. And I'm going, no, I don't want to do that. Like, let's go get a deal. And he goes, no, let's try this. And I'm going, well, what if nobody is interested in a new Honeymoon Suite record? Anyways, we did this. We bypassed all this record company stuff and did this pledge music thing, right? And then it was like the people out there from like all over the world really wanted a new Honeymoon Suite record. And it's going, wow, okay. I got some songs. Jerry's got some songs. And then, you know, it just, we wanted to get something out there. It's basically an EP and not a full-blown record, but we wanted to get something out there just because of the excitement and the vibe that was going down. So.
And what does that do for you, knowing that, you know, you did the pledge music thing and you see obviously people who have great interest, like you said, what does that give you and give your, I guess, you know, translate
It
into
shows
your
you
music?
who your fan base is. It's a direct connection with your fans. Your fans, you're basically eliminating the record company, and your fans are funding your album. In a nutshell, that's what they're doing. So,
Is there extra pressure that way, or a different kind of
Writing the
pressure?
lyrics, Ed.
No.
I've been writing them for part of the pledge music thing was like they get packages, right? And
Yeah.
some people, I don't know, they asked for me to write the lyrics out, right? Now here I am going with the lyrics. Gotta make sure it's
it's one of the
grammatically.
packages.
It's like
Yeah.
making sure it's like grammatically correct and it's nice. And it's like, you know.
We put the pressure on ourselves. So we've been writing for a year and a half on this record, me and Johnny and another friend of ours named Sean Kelly. We put the pressure on ourselves when we write a song to make it good before we ever present it to people, because it just has to go through the Honeymoon Suite filter. We set the bar kind of high. We always have, and I think that's good. So when we were ready to record, people just went, you know, they just chimed in, and I think they'll be excited when they hear the stuff.
What do you attribute to, I guess, the success of Honeymoon Suite throughout all these years? I mean,
Why we're successful?
well, just attribute, you know, when you think of a band that sustains itself for so long, I mean, it's something to be really appreciative, I guess, or proud
Radio,
of.
songs, catalog. Just, he's got a great voice, sounds good on the radio. But I can't tell you why they're still playing those songs 30 years later, but they are, and we don't take it for granted.
Well, it
It's
comes to
radio,
songs.
and it's fans. Our older generation of fans and now new younger generation. It's just, I don't know why. It's good.
Did I say to you? Did you see me through? That made you turn to stone overnight. I thought I played it right. Loving you came with the light. The chain of love is broken. Now I can't be started again. Stay in the light. Keep your tongue inside. Don't listen to fools on the run. Stay in the light, keep your tongue inside. Don't listen to fools on the run.
You guys have known each other for, you know, for so long. Is it almost like family now? Like, you know, like brothers? No?
No, we butt heads lots.
Yeah.
It's a business. Well, you know, it's a business like everything else. But we have 4 out of 5 of our original members,
Yes.
and then our keyboard player Peter's been with us forever. So it's basically an original
He's
band.
more original than the original.
Yeah, which is, you can't say that a lot about the bands from the 80s that are still out there. And I really dig that. And we're all still friends and we have fun.
So-
I never would have thought this band, like when I joined it in '83, never thought I'd be playing it in 30 years later. Because it didn't seem like a 30-year band. But for some reason it is. And we persevered. We all did other things, but we've kind of stayed together the whole time through a lot of changes, and now it's on an upswing for some reason, and you know, I like it. I like the history of it. Because some of my favorite bands are the ones that have been together forever, you know, like U2 and, you know, the older bands still have that, their, you know, what's the word, their credibility.
Right.
I dig it.
When you look back at all the gigs, is there like a, you know, a favorite moment or a funny moment that kind of sticks out for you guys, whether it's up on stage or an encounter with a
funny
fan or
moments.
something like that?
Well, our demographics are really strange now. Funny moments, yeah, they happen like all the time. Like I fall, he falls, you know. But some of the coolest thing is demographics now. So we're doing mostly in the summertime. We're doing big festivals, and I'll go up on stage like in front of like. I'm not gonna, you know, there's a lot of people there, but you look in the front and there's like, there'd be a girl there, gotta be like 12 years old, and I'll get her up on stage. She'll come, she'll be like crying like, while she's singing. What does it take? And it's like, how do you know this song? It's like it's really special. It's great.
The two of us are one of a kind. Our combination ain't easy to find. Why do I get a feeling from you? Things ain't right. Do you need something new? Knowing how both of us live leaves us so little to give.
So much good times, like we were living on a bus in the 80s for many years, all these tours we did. There's just so many, I've forgotten a lot of them. Like splitting your pants on stage in front of, you know, 10,000 people. We were opening for Heart or something, you know, back in the 80s. I used to wear some pretty tight pants.
Yeah, those are really
So I did
tight
one of my
pants then.
jumps and I heard, you know, I heard the tear. And of course there was kind of no underwear wearing back in those days because it's just the way it was. You went commando when tight pants when you had to go to commando. So I kind of played the rest of the set, you know, the guitar, and I didn't turn around.
So you had to keep on going. There was no
got to.
stopping
you
at that
gotta
moment.
keep on going. What are you gonna do? Change your pants?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of good times, you know. But I really don't miss that bus thing much.
It's tough. Part of life when you're like, we were a lot younger then and unattached, and we could go on 3 or 4 month tours and live on a bus because you just had that endurance, you know, and you're working really hard. But I wouldn't want to do that again.
I don't care how nice the bus is. It's like there's air conditioning wars and
A
all
bus
that sort
is a
of.
bus.
Yeah, I guess no matter how nice, we need our space at this point. We need our distance. I mean, you know, even in the hotels, like, you want to be beside him? No. You know.
I guess, is that healthy though? You know, obviously you guys have been playing together for so long, but that distance, does that allow some breathing room in terms of having a healthy band relationship?
You have to have it.
Yeah, living on 14 other guys or 13 other guys on a bus, everybody's just kind of got to know their place and respect things. Yeah. But yeah, there's been so many crazy things. We played with a lot of bands. We played New Year's Eve one year with opening for Ted Nugent in Detroit.
No, that's a
Whoa.
no-no.
Why did we do that?
Well-
So we're halfway through the set and then people are throwing beer cans and booing off the stage. And it's like, we shut her down, went off. And Ted Nugent comes to our change room 10 minutes later and he comes in and he goes, guys, I'm sorry, but half my crowd is out on parole for the weekend, you know, so I have to apologize for my crowd. They're out of their minds, you know.
Oh my
The
goodness.
the weirdest thing about doing those tours, like touring with Heart and Billy Idol or ZZ Top, is you'd be on a 2-month tour, but you never meet the guys, right? It's like they'd be gone, and then, you know, at the very end of the tour, there's always this little celebration or whatever, and then it's like, hey, yeah, we've been working with you for the last like 2 months, but it's really, really cool.
Yeah.
And those were like tough shows. When we first started touring, nobody knew who Honeymoon Suite was, and how the hell do you get in front of like ZZ Tops, and you know, those are some pretty big bands. Jethro Tull, that was like one of our very first tours. I mean, these guys are like loyal Jethro Tull, and it's like Honeymoon Suite sounds like a bunch of, you know, maybe
Right.
kind of funny guys who are not right in the head, something like that.
It's
You know?
odd mix-up, but
But
we did our
it.
thing. That's
We
what
did
I
it.
said earlier. We cut our teeth in the bars and we just did our thing and got out there and won them over after 40 minutes.
If we could stay on in that opening slot for like 3 or 4 songs, then crowd would go,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
Okay,
then-
this sounds like a band, right?
This new album, so it's soon to be released. But tell me a little bit about the sound, because I've heard, I guess, grumblings of maybe a little bit of a Celtic sound in there.
Yeah.
And
There's a lot of different stuff. I think Derry said it really good. There's, you know, it's like all our records. The songs are all different in their own way. We're not just going along one highway. You know, we're moving around, like we're not bringing in trombones and tubas and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
That's classic Honeymoon Suite. That's the
Yeah.
best way
Yes,
to
yeah.
Look- I mean,
So
look at
yeah,
our first
it
album.
hasn't lost your classic sound. Is what
You had New Girl Now, Burning in Love.
Yeah.
But then you had Wave Babies, and then Stay in the Light. They're all different songs, but yet they all fit the Honeymoon Suite mold. So this new one, I like that. There's like Johnny wrote a song called Market Square, which had a bit of a Celtic vibe. There's a couple of all-out rockers on it. There's like a song called 1986, which is kind of a mellow, looking back song. So there's a bit of everything, which I
There's-
like.
Yeah.
Good flavors.
There's actually, if you want to go even outside the box, if you listen to Hey Deanna, it's got a country Nashville sort of thing to it, which came from Derry.
There you
the
go.
seed, the
Yeah.
seed came from Dermot. You know, Deanna is his wife's name. I go, really? You know, really? He goes, well, you know, there's songs out there. I even said to him, like, let's do this track, and I need to sing it. That's all. And it's what it is. It's just neat. Out of that one song, it's kind of got a country thing going
Yeah,
on.
and a lot of co-writing this time. Like in the past, like in the early albums, I would bring songs in just because it was expedient to do that. But I've got into co-writing a lot in the last little while. So we co-wrote a lot more than we've ever did, and with our friend Sean Kelly as well. And it really shows. There's a lot more flavors. I love co-writing because when 3 people in the room, it's a
That's what I was going to
blast.
say. Like, what's the difference in co-writing? I guess what does
It's-
it add? Do you find for
For
songwriting?
me, I can write a song on my own, but when you're writing with another person, it's okay with 2 people. But as soon as you run out of ideas, you're standing there looking at each other. Well, when that third person is in the room, something's always moving. You know, if you get stumped, there's always that third person saying, "Why don't we do this?" I find that keeps the circle fresh. And
Writing is a real, it's a pain
It's
sometimes.
work.
It really hurts. Writing is crazy. Like even lyrically, it's like changing one word and oh geez.
Yeah,
You know, it's like, you gotta pull your hair out.
Yeah,
Luckily,
we've paid a lot more attention to our lyrics.
yeah, the other thing, yeah, and it's like, for me, like changing a word or two is huge because by the time it's finally done, you've got so many changes, right? Like even if we did a song today, I'm sweating bullets, you know, trying to remember, oh yeah, you know, you know, all this different stuff. It's not an easy chore, but it's you got a line for it.
It's a blessing and a curse.
Something like that.
Something like that. It's work because I've done a fair amount of writing with other people, and really, you're talking about inspiration. Sometimes you have the inspiration on the way to the writing session, but the rest of it is 3-4 hours of work, and you're not inspired some days, but you just really got to rack your brain. But sometimes at the end of 4 hours, you come up with something. Sometimes it's really hard work.
You hear sometimes these musicians, well, I wrote that in 3 minutes. It's like, oh yeah.
Sometimes you
okay,
do.
Sometimes you do.
Yeah.
Well,
And
you
then
know.
some days, I
So
guess
there's like
hours or days.
Those
depending.
half-hour songs, like New Girl Now, was done probably in under an hour, like the basic framework of that song. And other songs, it's taken us 6 months to write it. No rules.
What is it that you hope, I guess, your fans really take away from this new album?
Just what they've taken away from all the other ones. I hope they like it. I hope they can put it on and listen to more than one song, because the art of listening to an album has gone by the wayside, because people just don't have time. People are buying singles now, but we're still into albums, and my favorite bands, I listen to their albums. I think there's 7 songs. I think each one is special in its own way. I hope people dig it. That's all I
Well,
can say.
if they do like it, then we can play it live, and it's
Yeah.
not like the same old set. Like our set right now is coming 2 hours already, you know. And it would be really cool. Like people have been asking for a new record. That's how we started off this whole interview, right? Like they wanted a new record. So now we're giving it to them, and hopefully they'll like the tracks.
If you go on our Facebook, we put little teasers out there. I think we've posted three audio snippets, so people can actually hear a little snippet of the new songs. And so far, the response has been great.
Yeah, I don't do I shouldn't say. The Facebook thing and me just do not get along.
Well, not everybody, I guess, is
it's
shut
like,
up for
He's
it.
had his problems with Facebook.
Well, I'll take it at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and some who wants to type this thing about Johnny. I'm half asleep, and I read it like when I wake up. It can ruin my whole friggin' day. So I go, nah. I try to get back on, get off, get on, you know. But he's really good at it, you know.
So you're the one who's all over.
Well, actually,
social
my
media.
wife runs the media and the Facebook. She's done a great job and built up. We got over 30,000 people on there now, and we've got great fans, and we're reaching a lot of people.
Well, I was going to say, I guess in the way, how the industry has changed and everything, I guess social media plays a huge part in being able to connect with your
talking
fans.
about how the business has changed. When Honeymoon Suite started out, there wasn't even cell phones. There wasn't even internet. We
Not even
dated
like the
ourselves.
big blocks.
Yeah,
there
that was the
there
first
was
cell
a
phone.
cell phone, but it was
But it
like
was,
this big.
It was
and
huge. You couldn't put it in your pocket.
It was like
That's-
in the Batmobile or something.
How it's changed now, the way you can be connected in a bad way and also a good way now. Older bands like us and even younger bands, you can reach such a massive audience now, worldwide, instantly, for free, right? Somebody in China or Japan can hear the new song. That's great.
All right. Well, guys, I want to thank you very much for taking the time and speaking with me. All the best on the new album.
Thank you.